Hey everybody, Steve here from AAA Suspension. Today we're going to have a quick run through on how to put the airbag kit into the next gen Ford Ranger, so that's 2022 model. These are the tools we're going to need, and this is everything you're going to need to do the job. I've pre-assembled our airbag kit according to the instructions, and also in our handy tips it's been pre-squashed with a short bit of hose so that later on we can take that out and it'll expand back. So it's easier to fit when it's in the short position. We're going to need 19 millimeters to take the wheel off. You're going to need a long handle, 21 millimeter to take the U-bolts off. We're going to need 13 mil to take the mount for our bump stop out. We're going to need a 13 mil spanner to put that same bolt back in with our bracket. We're going to need a little pinch bar to pry off the metal cup on our spring, and we're going to need a cup of coffee. So I'm just going to get into the job. I'm going to start off by taking the wheel off. Okay, so we've got the wheel off, and now we're going to take out the bump stop, and we've got to remove the little plate that holds the bump stop. So literally comes out by hand, right? It just comes out, and you need the 13 mil spanner to take that plate out. So when you undo it, you'll realise the bolt seems to be a lot longer than it needs to be. But anyway, I'll be back to us in a second. We're going to put that bolt back in. Okay, so bump stop's out. I've put the bolt back in. I've left about 8 millimeters left to go. So we're going to slide our bracket over that and tighten him up with a spanner later. So now we're going to undo these U-bolts. That's a 21 mil socket, and you're going to need a decent handle on that because these babies will be tight. So I'm going to undo those. And once I've got them a little bit loose, I'm going to put the socket on a rattle gun, and I'm just going to rattle them all off. You don't have to actually take them right off, you just have to loosen them. Now, if the vehicle is jacked up safely and you've got the axle sitting on axle stands, and given that you only do one side at a time, then you will be able to take these off. The car is actually sitting on the axle so that the car's weight is not on the U-bolts. So you'll be able to take the U-bolts off, be able to do our job, put the U-bolts back on later. Okay, so we've got to take this off, and that is a metal plate. It's just literally clipped on to a small steel block, which is held in with 2 bolts. So I'm going to pry this off just with a pry bar. So inside there, this is from the other side, there are 2 nuts in there. They're 14 millimeter, and they seem to be unnecessarily tight. So you're going to need a 14 mil spanner with a reasonably long handle. Okay, so once you've got those nuts undone and you've taken that piece out, we're going to put those nuts back on and get them nice and tight again. They're just literally holding the spring pack shut, and a lot of cars don't even have this sort of thing, but doesn't matter, we'll put them back in. Our bracket will go over these. So our pre-squashed bag, so it's got the air valve in it, pre-squashed, and it's literally going to go into place. Okay, so we've now got him into place. He's literally just sitting there, and I'm going to get in there and I'm going to tighten up my top bolt with my spanner until he can't go anymore. And then I'm going to bring my U-bolt back in over there and put the other U-bolt in. You want to get these up nice and tight. It's always good to check these. Next time you fill up with fuel, that's a good time to just double check your wheel nuts and double check your U-bolts, because things settle in, and it's just peace of mind then, isn't it, really? So now I'm just going to push our airline in and This is the one that's going to go all the way to the back, so he's fully pushed in. Now I'm just going to route that up along with these brake lines, and then he's going to run it out to the number plate area. Okay, had a really good question. There is not a lot of room in here, right? Which is why we pre-press the bags in the vise. Check our handy tricks section. So we pre-press the bags in the vise and put it in fully compressed to start with, because there's not a lot of room. Now, had we jacked up the back of the car and put stands under the chassis, yes, the suspension would droop more and give us more room. But if we did that, when you take the U-bolts off, the axle would fall out from underneath. So what we've got here is, we've got the car is suspended by stands underneath the axle. So literally, it's sitting on the axle just like it would be sitting on its tires, and so the springs are sitting on the axle. So, you know, the downside is we don't have a lot of room, so we've got to pre-press the bags. Yes, we could have hung the chassis up and had more droop and had more room, but then we would have to jack the axle as well, and then you probably just put the bottle jack under the axle and you can move the axle up and down. So that's another way of doing it.